Hi and welcome to my video on how to do a TDV8 3.6 L322 rocker cover gasket or can cover, whatever you want to call it. Before I start, I just want to say this is my first ever video, and so I apologise for any up the nose shots or any shaky camera. It won't be edited, so it's all just going to be as is. I haven't actually, I've already stripped down the rocker cover gasket. This is more on what I would like to have known before I'd actually even done it. And believe me, there's a few things that you would like to know. The first one is, and I'll actually come back to this in a bit, but if you actually look at the top of the engine, you'll see that in every forum and any video that you've actually seen, they all tell you to remove everything off the top, all the clips and all the tubes, etc. And obviously 2007, these plastic clips are going to be brittle and everything, and when I looked at it I just thought, oh god, what a load of hassle. And being an electrical technician and mechanical on the trains, I'm fairly used to working in tight spaces and all this sort of thing, but I still didn't want to strip off the whole top. It was too much hassle. And when I looked at it, actually, I just thought, well, why do you need to strip it all off? So there are some good videos on there of the actual process, apart from obviously taking all the top off, but showing you how to remove the injectors and everything. So I'm not going to bother with that. What I want to talk about is the actual process of it. So when you actually first get the car ready, you want to first of all jack it up. Well, not jack it up, put it into its high suspension thing, lock it off, and actually take all the covers from underneath. This is because I guarantee you'll be dropping stuff all down through the holes, and this makes it a lot easier when the tools just drop on the floor, etc. Once you've done that and taken all the ones off, you want to put it into its setting and again lock it off, making sure the parking brake is applied. So the first thing to note is that you need to take out injector number 4, which can be done in a couple of ways and is really not that easy. This can be done by either breaking off the actual injector in two. This requires a 22mm socket and a good stiff hard turn when the injector's actually still fit in, and apparently the end will actually come off. But to be honest, for the price of the injectors, I don't want to take it apart. I actually read in a forum that someone actually did this and then the injector never worked again. So I would recommend the actual taking off the engine mount and actually jacking up the back of the engine. This gives you an extra bit of room to actually do the job. To actually get to this, on this side, you won't be able to see it, but there is actually a bolt, 2 bolts right down on the underside. I would recommend getting a crow's foot 16mm open-ended spanner. This, you can't get a knuckle on there. It actually hits against the side of the engine mount itself, and no matter how much I tried, you just couldn't get any turning on there whatsoever. I didn't actually have a crow's foot at the time, and I spent a lot of time. I've actually ordered one for putting it back together, but I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to actually do it. So what I actually ended up doing was undoing the subframe on these 2 bolts, which are 21, and there's actually one underneath as well, as you can see just under there, that you need to undo as well. Obviously support the car whilst you're doing this. So then once that's down on a lowered down slightly, you actually jack up the side of the car, and this will actually give you about 3 inches to get in there. Now the bolt is still difficult to get into, and unless you've got a adjustable spanner that's actually a bendy one, you're not actually going to get in there. I tried everything to get in there. I ended up having to fashion, luckily I had an old spark plug one that had the old handle type on the top. I actually had to fashion that down. I had to cut off at the top and actually at the bottom to actually make it fit between the engine mount and the bolt. And I managed to get a screwdriver actually in the slot and wrench it round, and just had to keep on undoing it with that. That's a lot of hassle. But the other bolt you can actually get to from, you won't be able to see again, it'll be getting under the car to show you, but the other bolt is actually at the front, and you can actually get your arm up and feel it, and you can actually get a 16mm spanner on there and actually crack it open. If you've got a ratchet one, it's just a quarter of a turn at a time, but you would actually get it out. That's probably the easier one. Once you've actually done that, you can actually then jack up the engine. Now the engine will rise up about I don't know, 2 to 3 inches, something like that. Not much, but it gives you enough to just about get the floor out. Block of wood, essential, because you actually, the oil pan is actually, I think, aluminium, so you need something to spread the load across it, and before you put the jack on it, because the jack will probably just crack it. So make sure you do that. So why did I actually remove the rocker cover gasket? It wasn't actually the sill that was broken, the actual rocker cover itself had actually split. Now I did Sikaflex it first of all, that was it still in place, and unfortunately when it fixed it a lot, but at the same time when I actually went out any hard power, there was still black smoke pouring out the back, and you can see I actually missed the bit down there because it was behind the cover once I actually removed the shield dog. So I could have actually repaired it further, but to be honest, if I want to sell the car, they're not worth much these days anyway, and someone's just going to walk away if they see all that Sikaflex over it. So I just thought, well, for the sake of £78 for the cover and some tools that I bought, it's worth doing. So what do you also need? I would say you would need a long sleeve jumper or arm protectors like this, because either you'll scratch yourself, and you can see how dirty they are, how filthy you're going to get once you're in to the thing. I would also recommend you get some magnetic inserts for your ratchets, especially for the, make sure you can get them on eBay, they're about between £5 and £15, and but make sure you get one with a size 8 on the end. That is simply because the injector ones are actually size 8 and you will drop them everywhere otherwise. So what else do you need to know? The injectors themselves actually have little clips that go in them. These are actually an absolute git to get to, because they're on the opposite side to what you would hope they're on, where you can actually get your screwdriver in there. You need a little watchmaker screwdriver or hook or something like that, and you either need one of these magnets or you need a pair of surgical clips or fishing hook removers. And once you've eased it out with the screwdriver slightly, you can just sort of pull it out or put it on the magnet, etc. These will ping everywhere, and you can buy them on eBay. They're about 20 quid for a pack, or I think I bought 2 for a tenner. So well worth having. I'll go back to the actual engine itself. Now, as I say, I didn't remove any of the top. There's one guy on YouTube who's got some very good videos on with the instructions on how to remove the ejectors, etc. But he goes, literally takes everything off, including the fuel rail and everything. And as I say, I just looked at it and thought, Christ almighty, that is a hell of a job. So all I did was remove the cabin filter. That's 2 bolts on either side, and the whole thing pulls forward. Then I removed the actual shroud that connects to, which is another, I think, 5 bolts here and 1 through the actual windscreen thing. It's a little bit fiddly to get to pull this out from under, but once you're there, you can actually get to the screws or the bolts at the back a lot easier. You're going to need a 1/4 inch set rather than a 3/8 set to get to the back ones, because the 3/8 set, even with a knuckle on there, you just can't get the angle on there. They're too big. So you need a deep socket, 10mm, to actually undo these bottom ones. And at the very back, there is actually, what happens is there's a nut that sits on the top of this, then this clip, then you have to remove the nut, remove the clip, and then you actually get to the bolt underneath that holds this final one in. That's a little bit fiddly. You've got an air tube that sits on the back that just goes, it's a vacuum pipe, and just goes to the back of the crankshaft cover. That literally just pulls out. These are what the clips actually hold in. This is your bleed offs. I would clean these up with just a rag. I wouldn't put anything on them because they've actually got O-rings on there, so you don't want it to deteriorate or anything like that when you put them back in. Little tip for them was to put some Vaseline on them so they actually slide in a lot better. With these clips, another little tip that I actually found on online was actually put some dental floss. I haven't got any dental floss, but cotton or something like that. Tie a bit around the actual clip, and if you do drop it down the car, you can actually find it with a bit of cotton or a bit of dental floss on there and pull it out, which is handy. Good little tip, that one. Is there anything else that needs to be spoken about in here? When you're actually trying to get injector 4 out, even though it's will come out slightly easier, it's going to knock against these pipes. I actually just got a large screwdriver behind there and just gave them a little push out of the way, the brake pipes, and I was actually managed to free it from behind there. If you want to clean your EGRs out and everything, then and flush it all out at the same time, then yeah, by all means remove all this, but I'm going to run some cleaner through it afterwards anyway, so to be fair, I just thought, no, too much hassle. As I say, this is the actual harder side to do because the bolts are not accessible for the engine mounts in a normal fashion. On the other side, you can actually just put a ratchet straight down and actually get to both bolts, which is a lot easier, but again, you will still need to jack up the engine to get number 8 out. Number 3 does, on this side, it goes 4, 3, 2, 1. Number 3 will actually come out, but if you've got the engine jacked up, it will come out easier. And again, on this side, 7 will come out, but it's a lot easier if you jack the engine up. There was one more thing I was going to tell everyone, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. Bear with me, but anyway, whilst I'm trying to think what that is, I'll just show you the new one. Make sure, because I think someone, it's a £78. I mean, that's fairly cheap for some of them are like 200 quid. So how long it's going to last, I don't honestly know, but at the same time, it comes with all the bolts. Make sure you get one, because some of them don't seem to come with the actual seal. And obviously, if you're stripping it down that much, you want to replace that seal anyway, because they become brittle. Nope, I can't remember for the life of me what the last thing was that I was going to say, but at the same time, I'm going to put all the injectors in, and the last thing that I will be doing is putting that size 16, the 2 size 16s in the bottom, because just in case for whatever reason I have to jack it back up again to actually get something done on number 4. Oh, that was it. Number 4, just remembered, number 4 and number 3 won't come out with the tube still actually fitted. You'll need to get 17mm in there to actually get onto the tube. And my cat's just come in, he's quite interested. You can either crack it off with the 17 at the 17mm, or if you do and get a 13 on there to actually hold this in, or you can actually just crack off the 17 and this will probably come out with it. If this comes out with it, there's a little washer little washer inside there that will actually fall out, so make sure you find that and put that back in. You also want to change the actual seals on the bottom, the little copper ones. Again, they're about £20 for a packet on YouTube, on eBay. I think that was it. If you want to see a cat trying to fix a car, there it is. So again, apologies if this video is very shaky and a bit, and probably very amateurish, but hopefully it's given you a few little pointers. And please, if you have any comments or anything like that, write them below. But hopefully that will help you with exactly what you need to do. Oh, that was one last one I've just remembered as well, actually. With the injectors, they also come with some plastic clips. The plastic clips actually sit between the actual injector and the holder. They don't actually need to be in there, but apparently they actually help when you actually put the injectors back in, because they wedge it into place and fix it into the direction so you can actually get the bolts back into the thing. As I say, you're going to need the number 8 on there for that to try and get the back bolts in, because yeah, it's just going to be very, very fiddly in the tight little spaces that you've got. And also, as you can probably see, I've got a set of steps, well needed. Luckily these came with my hot tub, but set of steps like that is essential, because otherwise you're just not going to be able to get into there properly. And good lighting. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks very much.